Desktop GPU sales are the lowest they've been in decades. Kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. Yet ironically, they seem to have a great understanding of inflation. I'm Riley Murdoch, this is TechLinked, and this is where the fun begins. For nerds who love numerical facts, get excited. According to a report from John Petty Research, GPU sales are about 13% lower than last quarter and down 38% from this time last year. But according to science, GPU manufacturers should want number go up, not number go down. It's taken us years to find out. And that's really where this tension is coming from. Shipments of NVIDIA cards have fallen by 15.2%, while AMD's have decreased by 7.5%.
You drop those shipments, pick them back up.
These percentages would sound delicious if we were discussing dairy products and not corporate profits. So, here we are.
Do with that as you will.
There seems to be a shakeup in desktop GPU market share as well. Milkshake? Almighty NVIDIA has fallen from 86% to merely 84% since the end of last year, while AMD's market share hasn't changed. But Intel's has. They've suckled the milk from NVIDIA's 2% teat and doubled their market share, rising to the peak of 4% of the market. And while that's not quite in cream territory, it would make for a rich bowl of Cocoa Puffs. I'm going to get some after this. Several popular third-party Reddit apps have announced they will be shutting down due to the site's upcoming API changes. Christian Selig, the creator of Apollo, the iOS Reddit app beloved by anyone who prefers their apps to not suck butt, said he would have to pay over $20 million in API fees under the new rules with very little notice. So Apollo was shut down on June 30th. The developers of Reddit is Fun and Sync echoed similar sentiments when they announced they would shut down as well.
Couldn't hold water at Sync.
Let that sink in. On top of being exorbitantly expensive, Reddit's new API rules prevent third-party apps from running ads or even showing not safe for work content, which is, let's be honest, a huge part of Reddit, r/wolves with watermelons not included. I browse that page with my family every night. It's fun for the whole family. Selig made a long post describing the situation and his reasoning for shutting down Apollo, in which he also detailed how Reddit's CEO, Steve Huffman, had internally accused him of blackmailing the company for $10 million. What actually happened, as evidenced by Selig's transcripts and audio recording of his phone call with Huffman, was that Selig jokingly offered to sell his app to Reddit for what would amount to 6 months of its API costs, but Huffman misunderstood this as a threat. He's always on edge. Selig then clarified it was a joke, and Huffman apologized profusely, yet apparently later told others that it was blackmail. Selig's joke wasn't very good, but if you want to see a tremendous joke, check out today's AMA with Reddit CEO Steve Huffman. Someone actually asked him about the accusations, and Huffman replied, saying the real problem with Selig was how he would communicate differently privately and publicly. Naturally, Selig replied and asked for receipts. Huffman replied to that and said he must have left them in his pants when he threw them in the wash. Then Selig clarified he wasn't talking about physical paper receipts. These guys really need to learn to communicate better. Also, those last two things we said were a joke. We're not blackmailing you. And a leaked Tesla report shows the Cybertruck had serious design flaws, like, for example, not releasing in 2021. The information is brought to us by a 100 gigabyte leak given to German outlet Handelsblatt, which contained a report dated January 25th, 2022 that said the pre-production truck struggled with things like body sealing, handling, braking, and suspension, which I believe are things that cars need to grow up big and strong. The brakes were especially bad, earning a poor rating on the Society of Automotive Engineers rating scale instead of the fair the engineers were hoping for. That's not a lot of hope, is it?
Someone call Obi-Wan.
Also, the brake pedal pressure pad was still under design at least a month after the Cybertruck was supposed to originally release. So the Alpha model experienced excessive pedal travel and even inconsistent stop, which is something Jacob sometimes suffers when he starts talking.
Sounds like it was.
But it's all okay, because Tesla says they will have release candidates for the Cybertruck around August of this year, and you can take that to the bank, unlike the $100 Cybertruck deposit you put down almost 4 years ago. That's gone. Now it's time for Quick Bits, brought to you by The Ridge, the company that brought you these Quick Bits, brought to you by The Ridge. Why? I don't get it. Finding the perfect Father's Day gift can be tough, but The Ridge has made it easy with one of their biggest sales of the year. The Ridge wallet is designed to be both stylish and functional, with room for up to 12 cards and cash, while remaining slim and compact. It's so cute. Plus, their wallets come in 30+ colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt Damascus. Smells nice. And for added security, their wallets are made with RFID blocking materials. Head to the link in the description and get something nice, like a Ridge wallet for your dad, or your dad's dad, or your mom. Did you know Quick Bits were originally designed as a way to slowly build tolerance to snake venom? Now, they're just 5 shorter stories, one for each failed test subject.
People died, Riley.
Don't ask any more questions. The organic life form known as Mark middle name Elliot Zuckerberg unleashed a hot new diss track about Apple's recently announced Vision Pro headset during a company-wide meeting on Thursday. According to Elliot, we're calling him now.
More like smelly it.
According to said Elliot, Apple didn't demonstrate any major technical breakthrough that Meta hasn't already explored, and that there's a real philosophical difference in how the two companies are approaching VR, because every demo that Apple showed was a person sitting on a couch by themselves. Our vision, this is Meta talking, for the metaverse is fundamentally social. It's about people interacting in new ways and feeling closer in new ways, said Mark Zuckerberg, a man who pays his employees to sit at the same table as him during lunch, a source alleged. The source was me, just now.
I heard it too.
Logitech will be ending the Blue brand.
Dabba dee dabba dead.
The name under which it sells its extremely popular Sona, Yeti, and Snowball microphones. It's a name that has launched 1,000 two-man podcasts about weed, which is why it's strange that Logitech is axing the brand. That's a strong market. The mics aren't going away, of course, unless you count most of them. Blue's music and audio recording mics are absent from Logitech's site. Seemingly only the streamer-focused Yeti, Snowball, and Blue Sona have been rolled under the Logitech G brand, alongside Astro headsets, which will at least retain the Astro name. Logitech G, of course, standing for Logitech Gangster.
See, it's more like. It's more like.
Thank you. Yeah.
No.
Managers may be using telemetric data from workplace software to track the productivity of remote workers, even though companies like Microsoft and Slack explicitly ask them not to use the data they give your boss access to. And it may only get worse in the future. The UK's Information Commissioner's Office issued a report on neurodata, and suggest that workplaces of the future may use neurotechnology to track productivity and even as a recruitment tool. So get ready to ask your friend to put his brain in a cup for you. It's the only way.
Come on, man, I do it for you.
Will I die? Yeah.
No,
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I drank like 3 beers last night. I need a replacement brain.
Summer Game Fest is in full swing with the main showcase, a Day of the Devs event, and Devolver all showing off the games you'll buy and forget you own for 3 years. Just stop, why are you buying so many? Among the haul of announcements from Summer Game Fest was Alan Wake 2 gameplay and a new Star Trek game from Paradox, Star Trek Infinite. What does it mean?
It's infinitely good.
Day of the Devs showed off a bunch of titles and even some new gameplay from Hyperlight Breaker, Heart Machine, I like them. And Devolver showed off exactly 4 games. One of them is the Talos Principle 2, the sequel to one of my favorite games. You're just tailoring this to me. And I can sincerely say that when this game comes out, I will neglect my wife and child. I do not sign off on that, that's not.
It's true!
And the creators of Ape Out and Getting Over It, respectively the story of a gorilla-led prison break and a cautionary tale about the consequences of replacing your legs with a cauldron, don't do it, are teaming up on a game called Baby Steps, a very literal walking simulator with a fully dynamic onesie soilage system. Starring Nate, a 35-year-old man who lives in his parents' basement, but is one day magically transported to a random cavern in the middle of the woods, barefoot and in his pajamas. He must then embark on a journey of meaning by waddling around through the wilderness like a baby with an overladen diaper. And I think the main thing is that you control one leg at a time, and that's what makes it funny. Finally, a character we can all relate to. And you'll definitely be able to relate to Monday's tech news, so why not come on back and say hi? I won't hear you, but I'll feel it in all of my bones. So don't say it too loud. My bones will rattle.
Hi, Riley.